Welcome back. Today I am going to explain episodes 16 to 17 of the Sword Art Online. Be ready for some spoilers are ahead. Episode 16 begins when Kirito gets to Agile and talks about the picture. However, Agile discusses the game's first MMO atmosphere, known as Alfheim Online. Its meaning is Land of Fairies. Kirito is surprised by the meaning. Agile says it requires skills and peaking skill is appreciated. There is now a sword and you have to fly through a flight engine. Agile further says once you understand the mechanism, you can fly. Next, Agile reveals there is a world tree in it, and it has a concern with Asuna's picture. Players are divided into 9 races, competing to reach the castle first. There is a time limit to fly. 5 players are carried on their shoulders and fly like a rocket. Kirito finds it insane. Agile continues that once Loose Cats did not manage to reach the lower branch, they took photos. A weird thing appeared in a bird cage having someone in it. Agile concludes that someone is Asuna. Kirito is shocked and Agile says it's the progression RCT that takes Asuna there. Suddenly Kirito reminds what Sugu says and takes software from Agile with a recommendation to use Nerve Gear Atmosphere. Agile motivates Kirito to save Asuna. Later, Kirito reaches out to Sugu and tells her that I am going to bring back Asuna. Sugu wishes him good luck. Therefore, Kirito wears Nerve Gear and reaches Alfheim Online. Kirito selects the Spriggan race and he is thrown to Ancient Forest. Kirito becomes excited watching the logout option. Surprisingly, his skills in SAO are mentioned in the window status. After connecting, Yui appears and she directly hugs Kirito by calling Daddy. Later, Yui explains this world is a copy of the SAO system and Cardinal system here is obsolete. Kirito assumes RCT takes over Argus and transforms the system of SAO. Yui confirms that the characters of the data are the same and the skills are redefined. Yui requests to delete all the system of SAO before an error gets in its way. Kirito deletes that with slight difficulty. Afterward, Yui tells Kirito that his skills are not going to be identified unless someone has them before. Upon asking, Yui checks her recognition and finds Navigation Pixie, which is an artificial program. Yui shows her pixie form and tells Kirito she has access to a wide-range map. Kirito explains to Asuna that I am in search of her, and she might be in World Tree. Kirito tells that I was teleported to an empty forest rather than World Tree. Yui says it might be interference. Kirito has his wings now. Yui directs Kirito on how to fly. Kirito begins to fly and Yui shares that if the wings are shining you can fly or else you have to give it a rest. Afterward, Yui explains about the nearest town, i.e. Yui's self-territory Sylvain, as Kirito wants to get there. Yui senses some players in the surroundings. Those are Lifa and Recon who face the monster. Recon is disappeared after an attack, however Lifa is trapped. Kirito appears there and monsters jump toward him. But Kirito blocks them. It is unexpected for Lifa. Lifa grants Yui permission and Kirito kills one of those. He is calling for another one and episode 16 ends here. Episode 17 commences when Kirito kills a couple of monsters and asks for the last one. He responds my energy level will drop down and I cannot compete. Lifa explains I would be better next time. The monster goes by saying I will bring more players to fight. There are lights on the ground and Lifa explains those who are killed minds are active and soon will get disappeared. Lifa asks if he wants to fight. Kirito answers I saved your life, so you better get emotional and place your arms around me. Lifa gets aggressive. Yui appears and Lifa recognizes her as a part of Private Pixie. Kirito tells me I got lost and could not find my place. Lifa tells Spriggan's territory is on the eastern side. Lifa thanks Kirito for saving her life. However, Kirito is curious about the World Tree. Lifa says it's in Sylph territory and you cannot attack them but they can. We can get to that place, but I provide no assurances on your life. Next, Lifa teaches Kirito how to fly without controllers. But Kirito is poor at the landing, which is why he falls badly. Lifa heals him and tells us that Undines can do this while Spriggans are good at hunting and illusion magic. Both are futile in battle. Meanwhile, Recon appears and Lifa tells Kirito saved my life. Both Kirito and Recon greet each other. Recon tells Sigurd to save a seat for us in the bar, we better go there. Lifa denies it and adds I will take a drink with Kirito as he saved my life. They enjoy drinking and Kirito asks about Recon. Lifa ferociously answers he is only a part of our team. Kirito urges to get to the top of World Tree. Lifa tells by passing the floating city, a fairy king will be reborn called Alfs. Those who do this will fly as much as they can. Leafa adds one needs to pass the base of a dome and pass by an NPC guardian that defends the dome to reach the top of the world tree. All races cannot contribute together to it. Kirito gets angry and urges to be the one to reach. Kirito bluntly says, "I have to find someone." Leafa decides she will help Kirito by taking him to the top of World Tree. She departs by logging off and starts thinking about him. Kirito pledges Yui that they both would find Asuna together. Furthermore, Suyuo, who is known as Oberon in this world, keeps Titania Aki Asuna. Suyuo tries to lose his emotions over Titania, but pledges that he cannot do it forcibly. Oberon is the fairy king who develops technology that can implant objects into human memories and erase them. Asuna is scared of his actions. Suyuo reveals that he will sell RCT for a substantial amount. This is hurting Asuna, and she wishes that Kirito must save her from him. Episode 17 concludes. Episode 18 starts when Suyuo thinks of the virtual world. After seeing her brother, she is curious to fly with Alfheim online. She is ready to sacrifice anything for the sake of flying. Next, Nagata stops her Leafa. Leafa is Suyuo, who hates to be called this name at school. Neither Leafa nor Suyuo loves to be called Miss Kirigaya. Nagata tells that Sigurd is planning for hunting, but Kirigaya is unable to join as she has to spend flying time with Kirito. Moreover, she says that she has to move Aaron, the base of World Tree. Leafa aka Suyuo gets into the virtual world and Kirito joins her at Sylph territory, Sylvian. Kirito has to buy equipment first. Leafa takes Kirito to the huge building where he can start things off for the quest. Meanwhile, Sigurd arrives and asks Leafa why she is not joining them at the party. Leafa responds to Sigurd that it was you who said you can quit at any second. Henceforth, Sigurd says that this move can destroy the reputation of the party. Furthermore, Kirito is enraged and tells Sigurd that no one is your equipment here to use. Sigurd warns him by raising his sword. Leafa wholeheartedly decides to join Kirito's party. Sigurd tells that you can be killed for betraying us. Leafa thereafter takes Kirito to the top of the building. Kirito feels for Leafa. On the same path, Kirito enjoys the view of the sky too. Upon asking, Leafa says renegades are the ones who dismiss their territories. Yui abruptly says it's hard to figure out human minds. Later, Recon arrives and figures out the situation. He says to Leafa that he wants to go with her but have to investigate something, that is why I am staying with Sigurd's party. Recon depicts that Leafa gets into trouble at once, so take care of her. Both Leafa and Kirito start flying and Yui asks if it is obvious that Recon likes Leafa. Leafa gets annoyed and takes the lead by telling us that we have to reach out the lake. On the other side, Suyuo keeps on teasing Asuna by touching her. Asuna tells that Kirito will save me one day. Suyuo tells her I met him in the real world, and when I told him that I would be marrying Asuna, his face turned pale. I was dumbfounded when I came to know that he beat the SAO. For now I should send the wedding invitation. In this way, he will come to you. Asuna gets happy that Kirito is alive. Asuna remembers the password of the cage too. Both Kirito and Leafa kill monsters in ancient forest. They take some rest then. Leafa tells the altitude of the mountain is tough. It's the hardest part between Aaron and Sylph territory. One can take a rest midway since caves are massive. Leafa and Kirito decide to log off and switch. Leafa gets logged off and gets to her home thinking about Kirito all the time. Later, Leafa is back and finds Kirito eating Sylvain's specialty. Leafa tries that but could not bear it. Kirito struggles to fly and Leafa tells him that it's a tracking magic. We can only get away from this situation when the tracer is weak, or else it will be useless. Both Leafa and Kirito start flying and episode 18 ends here. Episode 19 begins when Leafa and Kirito get into Legru Corridor. Leafa is impressed by the night vision magic and praises Spriggans. Kirito starts learning the magic, which is the key. Leafa depicts projecting illusion can be your strength, whereas Lane Spriggan will leave no difference between life and death. Kirito is taunted here. Well, Kirito is told that 20 words of magic are worthwhile. Meanwhile, Recon sends a message to Leafa. It is, be careful S. They fail to understand what is S. Yui finds some movements of players. Knowing they are plenty, Leafa casts a spell to hide. Since the tracer is strong, Leafa has to kill the bat. Now, enemies are ready for the counterattack. Those are salamanders who are marching. Furthermore, Kirito wants Leafa to hold his back for healing purposes. Kirito attacks, but in vain. They cast a spell that lowers Kirito's HP. Leafa heals a couple of times. Yui shows up and requests Leafa humbly to use mana. It enables to block the magic of the opponents. Leafa does so, and at once Kirito casts an illusion spell that turns him into a monster to kill all the enemies and leaves one for Leafa's interrogation. Therefore, the salamander tells how Jitakusu made squads to kill 2. You defeated Kajimune, that's why he came with 12. It's an order from high authorities to kill both of you. As promised. Kirito gives Yuld to that guy. Leafa asks Kirito about that monster thing. It is probably the same as Yui suggested. Kirito suddenly bites the hand of Leafa and gets a slap in return. Leafa then logs off to resume contact with Recon. However, as she gets into the real world, she talks to Nagata. Nagata reveals Sigurd sold out Sylph leader Sakuya, and they are mingling up with salamanders. However, Sakuya joined hands with Kate Sith. Both Leafa and Kirito run toward Butterfly Valley, where Sylph and Kate Sith will commence a meeting. Leafa suggests that Kirito join hands with salamanders if he wants to conquer World Tree. Things would be easy for you afterward being a mercenary for them. You could even kill me too for your benefit. Contrary to this, Kirito responds, I used to think that way, but I will not kill any of my dearest ones for my benefit. Kirito and Leafa move toward the exit door with Yui by overcoming the monsters. Episode 19 concludes. Episode 20 begins when both Leafa and Kirito move out of the exit door and start flying. They are getting to Butterfly Valley, and they have 20 minutes to move towards the northwest. Yui senses 68 players of Salamander and 14 of Sylph and Kate Sith. Leafa advises Kirito to move to World Tree and I will save Sakuya. However, Kirito highly disagrees. Now then, Salamander attacks and Kirito reaches in the nick of the time. Leafa greets Sakuya and assures her Kirito is our main explosive. Kirito speaks to Commander of Salamanders that he is here to trade with Sylphs and Kate Sith. If you intervene, you have to face the music then. You are coming across 4 races. Contrary to this, Commander considers them lackluster and tells Kirito that if you survive for 30 seconds, I will keep your words. Commander attacks and Sakuya tells Commander has demonic sword Graham. Commander Eugene is the younger brother of Salander's leader Mortimer. Eugene has the strongest reflexes. This is going to be tough for Kirito. In addition, this sword has the bonus skill of Ethereal Shift. Commander, however, negates the idea of 30 seconds and keeps on fighting. Kirito musters up his courage and takes assistance from Leafa. Kirito surprises everyone by disappearing and suddenly he starts beating Black and Blue Commander Eugene until he dies. Everyone gets stunned. No one could believe what they have witnessed and started praising Kirito. Afterward, Sakuya brings Eugene back to life. Eugene starts praising Kirito. Kirito asks Eugene to concede. Kajun arrives and tells Eugene that we became the victim of this. Spriggan and Undyne were there with him. Therefore, Eugene concedes and pledges that he will fight with Kirito again. Sakuya wants an explanation from Kirito and Leafa. Sakuya adds Sigurd underestimated us and they are bringing a 5.0 update with a reincarnation system. Power is key to Sigurd. Mortimer also takes part in reincarnation. Sigurd is shocked to see Sakuya alive. Sakuya says Eugene sends you warm wishes. Sigurd sees Leafa and understands the situation. Sakuya further depicts that your leader has taken rights from you and abandoned you from the territory. Sakuya concludes you can live your life in neutral territory as a renegade. Sigurd is broken into pieces. Later, Alicia and Sakuya offer Kirito to join their party. Kirito appreciates the offer but decides to stay with Leafa as she promised him to take him to World Tree. Leafa asks Sakuya if we would like to join you for the World Tree quest. Alicia responds it will take time. Kirito explains I am in search of someone. Before leaving, Kirito presents 100,000 pieces of Yuld to them. They thank him and depart. Both Kirito and Leafa set for Aruna. On the other side, Asuna opens up the cage by dialing the password and expects to do the best for Kirito. Episode 20 concludes. Thanks for watching.